certainly the DPAs around the world have recognized for some time that given the fact that data flows across borders, enforcement action cannot stop at national borders either. So a global response is required. We will talk at some level about the GPEN, which is indeed an informal network in the next hour or so. But let me go a bit beyond GPEN and say that the International Conference of DPAs has been dealing with the issue of enforcement for some time. And more recently, in 2014, a global arrangement for the sharing of information between DPAs in relation to enforcement cooperation was not adopted. It was made available for DPAs who wish to rely on this arrangement to do so. This arrangement was developed over the course of a number of years between Canada and the UK, the ICO as co-lead of this project, and the International Conference generally adopted the text for those who want to accede in 2014. At this point, approximately 2 years later, we have 11 participants to this arrangement, including 7 from Europe. Canada, Australia, Hong Kong, and the province of British Columbia are also members of the arrangement. So this is a hard, let's call it, a formal arrangement for the sharing of information for enforcement cooperation as between DPAs. Now, going back to the GPEN, GPEN is indeed an informal network. It was created a number of years ago, about 2010, with about 13 members at that time, and now we are 64 members of GPEN. So obviously, DPAs see a lot of value in being a member of that network. The network is informal. One of the means used by GPEN to effect its work is an exercise that takes place once a year in the spring, and the results are normally announced in the fall, called the GPEN sweep. The GPEN sweep is a pretty neat thing. You would think of DPAs as enforcement bodies mired in procedure, but actually the GPEN sweep is an extremely informal coalition of DPAs who, during a day in the spring every year, but each in their own offices, review informally a certain aspect of privacy. And they do that from the user's perspective. So this is not a formal investigation. This is simply a number of employees of DPA offices in many countries across the world, using apps, apps for children, and so on and so forth, and seeing from the user's perspective whether privacy is being respected by the organizations responsible for the applications in question. So this is not work intensive, it is not resource intensive for DPAs, but we've actually been able to effect some important change through this neat little exercise. First of all, the fact that organizations know that DPAs coalesce around this exercise and that there are common lessons with the weight of not only one DPA but a number of DPAs, I think adds to the impact of the exercise. So in recent years, for instance, we were able to effect change such as enhancing the requirement to clearly communicate privacy policies on websites and mobile devices. That was in 2014, I believe. And in 2015, we were able to effect change on the importance of exercise special care in protecting the privacy of children. And Hannah, my colleague from the ICO, I believe will speak a little bit later to the results of the sweep, the most recent sweep. In addition to actually affecting some change on the ground, the GPEN network actually serves to reinforce relationships between DPAs. When comes the time to use the more formal mechanisms, one of the hurdles that DPAs face frequently is that they did not know their partners. They do not necessarily know the laws in place in the country with whom they would need to deal with, and the fact that the network exists and that there's some information sharing on exercises such as the GPEN sweep allows the creation of a solid relationship between DPAs, which then makes it easier to cooperate formally.